It never happens at a good time. The pipe bursts at midnight. The heater quits on the coldest night. Suddenly, you're overwhelmed. That's when HomeServe is here. For $4.99 a month, you're never alone. Just call their 24/7 hotline and a local pro is on the way. Trusted by millions, HomeServe delivers peace of mind when you need it most. For plans starting at just $4.99 a month, go to HomeServe.com. That's HomeServe.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range between $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs.
You're listening to a Roddenberry Podcast.
Welcome into another episode of Talking Ted presented by Bear Fight Whiskey. This episode, Loud Night, the one where Johnny spends time preparing for war while Ted builds infrastructure, education, and healthcare. My name is Mike Richards.
Did we watch the same episode?
From Battleship, Jess.
No, I know.
Battleship.
I'm Jessica Lynn Verdi. We're the hosts of Talking Ted, and we are getting down to the last episodes of season 1, and we are here to talk about Loud Night. And we have a special guest on the other side of our break in Brandon Fayette. I'm very excited for that. So grab your glass of Bear Fight whiskey and enjoy Mike's recap of this episode.
Loud Night, written and directed by Seth MacFarlane. Susan is cleaning out the basement, and she finds Maddie's childhood toy, Dennis the dump truck. Not willing to part with it, Maddie decides he's going to start playing with it as he's freaking 50. Feeling lonely as the man of the house, Maddie wishes Dennis to life. Is it the house? Is it those strong Bennett jeans? A shooting star? We're just going to call it a Christmas miracle.
Okay.
Whatever it is, Dennis the dump truck comes to life, and Dennis is like Maddie on methampheteroids. He's a lot. He's a lot. Okay. You'll see. If you haven't watched, he's a lot. Meanwhile, Ted is convinced that he's a product of an immaculate conception, kind of, conceived under a star to spread the word of love. I love you.
I love you.
As Maddie and Dennis are being Maddie and Dennis, Blair and Sarah tell the rest of the family they're a couple. Not knowing what else to do, Blair and Sarah decide to leave, but surprisingly and very, thoughtfully gets encouragement by Ted via the Book of Romulans to talk to Maddie. Dennis's rudeness is even too much for Maddie to take, and he apologizes to Blair and Sarah and asks them to stay. In fact, he says they're welcome to stay. Turns out Susan can sing really, really well, and Dennis is gay. Finally being honest for the first time in his entire life, Dennis is off to Provincetown, Mass, sans sweater, to catch up on lost time. As it turns out, Maddie is the most tolerant man in the greater Boston area. It truly is a Christmas miracle. The end.
It's a miracle you got through that, Mike.
P-Town, baby. Yeah, it's since Jessica did such an expert job editing that, I'm sure it'll come to a surprise to everybody that it took me 45 minutes to get through that 3-line recap.
I only am disparaging you because it's the perfect button to you saying it's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a great recap. I really do appreciate your little asides. I feel like after all this time of you and I doing these shows together, we have our own shorthand too, which is real nice.
Yeah, it definitely has. I enjoy the recap, and I like these shorter recaps too. They're for this show. I think it fits in really nice. Speaking of things left out of the recap, since Dennis woke up and just decided that he was alive and hated the Yankees. I'm drinking a Manhattan.
Oh,
because you know what? F Dennis.
F you, Dennis. I'm going full bore. I got a beer and I'm drinking Bear Fight straight tonight. I'm doing the beer whiskey chaser life.
The
Boilermaker.
Boilermaker. Nice.
I actually genuinely like putting whiskey in beer too, but it has to be straight from the tap, cold ass whiskey
Right.
or a
Yeah.
cold ass beer. I don't know. It tastes like an iced tea to me, and it's delicious. So
Well, hey, you cannot knock it if you like it. It is your call. And like I said, this Bear Fight whiskey it has paired well with everything I've tried with it. And that's gone from, an old fashioned to a hot toddy to something some friends of mine concocted together when I was in college with Kahlua and Bailey's. A little thing we call an M&M, and it just it's up to the task with anything I throw at it.
And if you're not already following us on Twitter, we are going to be sharing these recipes with you the way that Mike's been making them. And we'll also share it on our Instagram. So we have Roddenberry Podcasts where we can share those with you. And we can share this on our ML underscore Orville, the Orville, right? ML underscore the Orville on X, formerly known as Twitter.
How long are we going to say formerly known as Twitter? That's my question.
X is such a dumb name, Mike, that we don't have the time in this short.
We don't.
You know what? I think if we get a certain amount of subscribers and likes for this, if we get 30 likes for this episode, you and I will do our own supplemental on why X is a dumb name.
All right. Deal.
I just want to say too, what I love about this episode is I know we've gotten criticized in the past for our liberal bent and keeping the politics. I don't really care.
That's your liberal bent, Jess. I am a psycho right-wing nut job. Yeah.
You know what? You would benefit as a cis white male that's in his 50s. So congratulate. Listen, if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't be as liberal as I am. I'm just kidding. I can say that to you because we are friends. I like that it presents to you a way to be tolerant and loving without beating you over the head about that. And I love that when Dennis heads off to P-Town, he's got the rainbow sticker on the back of the truck. It's such a funny. I actually had this morbid thought that he was going to get accidentally run over.
Oh no!
I know. The angle of it. I just felt
because that would be just such the Hollywood trope of the non-straight character getting killed. So yeah, please, I'm so glad.
No, he needed to live.
Happen.
He needed to live. But yes, I think whether it is the Bennett man special that they can bring things to life, or it is the house, or what have you. This is just a universe where inanimate objects can come to life, kind of sometimes,
And we love that. And also, Maddie, and we talked about this before and all the way back to episode 1, how, these are flawed characters. They're funny characters.
Yes.
They're caricatures of different traits that people have that maybe someday we'll evolve away from. But they end up doing the right thing at the end of the day. And Maddie just, very vulnerably said, I grew up in a different time. Okay. This I don't understand. He goes, but your family, and I'm going to try because I don't want to be that guy. And good for Maddie.
Yeah, I think, listen, it is easier in general to learn how to have acceptance for something you don't understand when it's occurring to you or a loved one.
Right.
So I don't wish that for everybody to have learning experiences to expand their mind. I encourage people to at least educate themselves and then have an informed opinion. But, Maddie's going, well, I don't hate Blair. I don't care who she loves. How angry am I about this? And how much do I, and this is what I really took away from it. How much do I need to be right at the expense of the people that I love? And I love that kind of awareness at the end of the day.
That is tremendous. It really, really is. I've got 2 kids home from college right now for the summer. And what do we always say about college, Jess? What do we say about it?
That you have 2 kids who go to college.
It makes makes great kids, makes smart kids. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But the Frisbee, that's where I draw the line.
Oh, got it.
Whammo with the Frisbee. And
you can't let go of the Frisbee.
And what is this right here? So it's so funny because I think, just being like a child of, the 80s. I mean, it was just like out in the street every night after dinner, all the neighborhood kids just playing Frisbee, a game where there's no winner.
It's one of my best moments in 5th grade was scoring 2 ultimate frisbee goals and blocking.
Dang.
I know. I had never played, and I blocked somebody from scoring. And Mike, it was the highlight of my career.
It was your athletic apex.
I was pretty athletic. I was
Okay. So
I'm
no.
just saying it was a highlight. It was a highlight.
Good.
My athletic career didn't go downhill until high school. But speaking of other career highs, we get to talk to Brandon Fayette, who has worked on Ted, who we know him from all of the ways he has made the Orville something we love. And so we're going to spend some time on the other side of this break talking to him. Are you ready for that?
100%. We met, we had the privilege of meeting Brandon at the premiere of the Orville New Horizons at the California Science Center. I was immediately really, really impressed with, like, honest to God, I was in a conversation with him and Seth, and we were talking about the shakedown scene of the Pterodon. And I think hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about that. But watching these grown men and the joy on their face for getting to produce this show, just the grin from ear to ear, was fantastic. And if those of you don't know, Brandon Fayette is a producer, a director, and a special effects supervisor. He's known for his work on Star Trek, Star Wars, The Orville, and he's responsible for the application ViewScreen, which is used to kind of real-time bring things to life that would normally have to be done in a green screen or with ping pong balls on somebody on a suit, in a VR suit, that kind of thing. So this is groundbreaking real-time technology. He's going to talk to us about that and how that was developed for the Orville and then used for Ted. So you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, Mike, let's get into it then. Let's take this quick break.
Sounds good. Cheers, Jess.
Cheers, Mike.
Hey, folks. We're here to talk to you about Bear Fight Whiskey, how much we've been enjoying it, and how you can enjoy it yourselves.
I'm a whiskey drinker through and through, and I think I have found my new favorite go-to in Bear Fight Whiskey. It's a little bit of scotch, it's a little bit of bourbon, it's a little bit of great, and we want to extend a discount to you so you can sip right along with us.
Bear Fight Whiskey is an American single malt. It's one of the most awarded single malt whiskeys in the U.S. It's a simple recipe, it's a fantastic flavor, and it goes great with anything.
So head over to bearfightwhiskey.com, type in BF20 at checkout, and get yourself $20 off of shipping.
And now, back to the show. Welcome back to Bear Fight Whiskey Presents Talking Ted. We are delighted to be joined today by Brandon Fayette and my co-host, Jessica Lynn Verdi. Jessica, how are you enjoying your bear fight today?
I'm going full bore.
Two-fisted. Not one fist, but two fists.
Nothing like a Boilermaker. Anyway, it's also not quite the middle. It's about to be like stormy out. So I feel like just have a nice little chaser. Brandon, we're so excited. I actually have to tell you a little. My dad had a record player, a Lafayette, and I was learning about Lafayette as a kid, and anyway, Fayette is a very fun name.
Yeah, it's the New Orleans in me. That's where I'm from originally. So
that's
I moved
amazing.
to LA the year before Katrina hit, actually.
Whoa.
So it was an interesting mix of culture shock and like, oh yeah, so the place you're from has been completely wiped off the face of the earth.
Were you at school there and then came here? Like, because I'm always fascinated by, since I'm from the Valley originally, I didn't have to travel to my, work. I'm always amazed by you guys.
I was the LA transplant story. So I had finished my bachelor's of fine arts at a school in Louisiana and was looking to find a way to get into the industry. And so I ended up going to a school that's now really big. At the time, it was like very small, called the Noman School of Visual Effects. Mostly near the end of it, I met this young director who had come up doing television and some feature. Well, he had done some features, he'd done some television. His name was J.J. Abrams. And we...
small guy, yeah.
He had this company called Bad Robot. And he's like, hey, I want you to... I was going to his house and tutoring him on how to do some 3D stuff. And he's like, hey, making the company bigger. We're going to hire employees. It's going to be more of a real company. I'd love you to come and work with me. And I said, okay, well, let me think about it. I had an offer pending from my mentor at the time, this gentleman, Kevin Hudson, who was like the model lead on Polar Express and Spider-Man and so on. And he was like, hey, come work for me at Sony and you could, work on some of the bigger movies, one of which I think was going to be the amazing, is it Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3? I can't remember, with Tobey Maguire. I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to do that. So I had this job offer from Sony, working with Kevin. I had an offer working with JJ at Bad Robot. And I said, well, what's my job going to be at Bad Robot? And he said, well, anything, it was like anything that I can't do because I'm directing.
So if you're doing all the stuff that if JJ does all the stuff that he has to do when he's directing, and you're doing all the stuff that needs to be done when he's not directing, or, that he can't do when he's directing, that's pretty much just two people doing everything, it sounds like.
It wasn't that. No, there was a lot of people at Bad Robot. That was the joke he said when he offered me the job. It wasn't like the reality. Oh, it's just Brandon in a corner grinding away. I mean, the first year, yes. It was just like myself and Dave Baronoff and a bunch of executives. I was like I remember distinctly, I was like drawing on like a Wacom tablet, like one of these guys. And he comes and he brings me like a Cintiq. And he's like, here's the screen tablet. And I did that for years until I hit my 30s and I realized that like the hunching over to draw on the screen was causing more back and neck problems than just using a tablet sitting like this. So I switched back. But when we were doing Star Wars, Star Trek Beyond, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Mission Impossible 6 or 5, there was like 90 to 120 VFX artists working at the time. I was in charge of the CG side. So anything that's like 3D models, assets, rendering, pipeline, asset creation. And then we had a couple other people that swung in and out depending on the show. So Andrew Kramer, who ran a website called Video Copilot, still runs it, made a bunch of After Effects plugins and all. He was there for a bit helping out. So we were kind of just buzzing away on different things. My whole deal was I was juggling different things. I was storyboarding for certain things. I was designing, creating assets, designing spaceships, so on and so forth. I designed the 3D Bad Robot that's in the logo that runs back and forth.
Oh, cute.
And a bunch of other kind of fun things. So like above me is there's the robot and a little model kit and things like that. And then ended up leaving Bad Robot around 2016. Jumped around on some smaller movies. I did a little bit on Patriots Day. A little bit on some commercial work.
Patriots Day is the Mel Gibson one?
No, that's Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, okay.
It's
gotcha.
It's the one that's about the Boston bombing.
Oh,
not Patriots Day. I'm calling it the wrong name, but the one. Might have been Patriots. I can't remember.
It very well could have been, but it's a different movie.
They all blend together.
Right. I'm sure.
I'm sorry, Mark, if I said the name of your movie wrong. I did, probably.
Well,
he's
if Mark's
definitely
listening,
watching.
Yeah, he can write us a strongly worded letter.
I can't believe you guys did that. You shouldn't have done it. I mean, it's not how you say it.
Hold on. Is this your way of telling us that you were in the running against Max Burkholder for the role of John Bennett? No, because that was a very good John Bennett.
No, that's just me doing Mark. I mean, no.
It's very good.
Hey, Ted, what's going on, buddy? Too much being around Seth and his voices. But anyway,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I went to Orville around end of 2016, beginning of 2017, and Luke McDonald, who's the VFX soup, brought me in as the digital effects soup, the DFX soup, which is, again, it's that whole thing of like, think of it structurally, if the VFX soup is in charge of the overall look of what the show is going to look like and how it's brought together, the digital effects soup is involved in the execution of said look. The loop is very good. I'm not even drinking. What am I doing? But anyway, so yeah, the idea was how to verify, how to actually take the shots and execute on the technology or using technology to figure out how to do the thing that we're trying to make. So I was doing that, and I was also designing spaceships. So I originally came in and I was designing all of the krill and figuring out what every ship looked like because I couldn't quite crack it. And that turned into the Kalon, that turned into the Mocklins, that turned into, I had Nick Hyatt, who's a great concept painter, designer, art director friend of mine, do the Caliban and I modified.
Wow.
And then that led to me doing the rest of the Union fleet. So I was doing the cruiser, the Leviathan, the Pterodon, the shuttles and so on.
Mike and I were lucky enough to go to the premiere, and the Pterodon was there, the fighter for season 3. And that was just, no matter how plugged in you are into the VFX world and the design world, regardless, you're like, this is a cool little friggin' shit. Like it was a cool thing to see.
It tripped me out that we actually built a full-scale Pterodon and a full-scale shuttle for season 3.
Right.
And the actual files were created off my original Maya concept models. So I 3D modeled the asset and then gave it to Stephen Lineweaver and Robert Strohmeyer and Kit Stolen, and they engaged this company who's no longer in business to build the full scale one. So they CNC printed out a foam off of my 3D files with a little bit of modification, and then cast that in fiberglass and actually ran off the full-scale 36-foot by 24-foot by 12.5-foot shuttle and the 34-foot by 4.2 feet by, at the tallest point, about 8-foot Pterodon. And this was the actual model that we used for approval years ago. So I just really quickly painted it to be like, okay, I think it can have blue highlights. And this thing's held on with the most yellowing masking tape. There it is. And it was glued together in pieces because my printer at the time didn't have a big bed. And it used to have the landing gear, but as I was telling you guys offline, it was broken twice. It was broken. It's actually slightly broken here too, so you can see a little piece.
Oh,
but the first time was by Bruce Willis.
this is so great.
I don't know the story too much. I just know that it came back to me broken, and Seth said, "Yeah, he was playing with it, and it kind of fell." I was like, "It's okay. I'll fix it."
Was that when he came in to do his guest appearance to voice the plant?
For the plant, yeah. I wasn't there, so it's all secondary knowledge to me. I just know that I was told this is what happened, and so
when Mr. Bruce Willis does something, you don't know. You just know it's been done.
Well, I kept it, and then it broke again. I think Seth broke it again, and he walked up to me he was like, "So Brandon, I got news for you. I broke the fighter." I was like, "That's okay."
Well, so what's the relationship between Fuzzy Door Productions and Fuzzy Door Tech, and sort of how that's broken out?
So Fuzzy Door Productions is Seth's production company. And in the beginning of season 3 of the Orville, I was trying to find ways to expedite figuring out how to do the more complex shots. So just to give you a little bit of history, season 1 of the Orville is about 4,000 visual effects shots that aired. Season 2 is about 7,100 shots that aired. Season 3 was 7,100 shots as well, but it was not as much 2D as it was full 3D. So if season 2 was maybe 1,200 full 3D shots, season 3 was about 5,200 full CG shots.
Wow.
So way more for the count of shots. And so what I was trying to figure out was how can I make my life easier and thereby Seth and everyone else's life easier, so we don't have to do what he calls a new telephone and he says one thing and it gets disseminated out and changes over time. So I started building this technology in end of 2018, beginning of 2019, that ultimately became ViewScreen. So the first version of it was really, the very first test I did was with Kit. So it was Kit, Stolen, and myself in the production office before anyone else was hired for season 3 of Orville. We were the first ones in, and I literally put Yaphet in and had Kit move him around just so we could see if Yaphet would move with this tech. And we were originally doing it in the Unreal Engine and switched off because it was not quite where it is now. So I built a version and I'm like, this is pretty cool. It's kind of like a director's finder / visualizer that can help me do stuff in AR. And unlike most apps that would just bring in an asset, I could animate with it. So the whole idea was I wanted to be able to do what Seth wanted, be able to do that, create assets, bring things to life, and so on. And then we ended up going into TED. And when we were doing it on Orville, we were accurate to about 6 inches. So when you have a 36-foot spaceship, you don't really notice a half a foot of difference between each camera. With TED, we had to get accurate down to 1 millimeter.
Right.
So
Wow.
we created and patented a whole slew of things that would allow us to do stuff, which ended up becoming ViewScreen. And then we turned it into, after TED wrapped, Seth was like, can we take this and make it something that everyone can use? And so we started parceling out the different applications and creating the path to what became like the ViewScreen Scout app, which is available in beta right now. Anyone could go download it if they want, which is like a stripped down version. And then you had things like ViewScreen Scout. So essentially for TED, the dilemma was how do we get it down to millimeter or centimeter accuracy? So we built a new system for that, and we could shoot TED from all the different points of view. to actually get a rough approximation of what Seth was doing. But it was really to help the camera operators on TED, so they could actually see TED and visualize them in there. It was less used for visual effects, just because in the process of making TED, we were still doing our recording system where it makes all the data that can go. That's complete now, so moving forward, we can save everything out, send it to editorial to edit with, and so on. So you can shoot with it just like you're shooting with the live data. It's real easy to use. The version that exists on the website is people can use it right now. We don't limit anything. So you can record your own shots. You can bring in your own assets. The only thing we're not letting you do is the shared AR because it requires a little more things.
Sure.
But you can go in by yourself just like I did and make shots immediately.
So you met your partner on the Orville, and she's a whiskey drinker.
Well, so she is she's a screenwriter. And
Gotcha.
she's also, so, you know, all screenwriters, especially in today's economy, need to have other jobs. So
Yes.
she was actually she was an actress for a few years, and she became a wine distributor. So she was around LA doing all the distribution for wine, and then she became a wine journalist for a natural wine company called Domestique. So she was a big wine person, and now she works for Whiskey Raiders, which is now Bottle Raiders, as a journalist for their whiskey and spirit side. So we have so many bottles of bourbon and whiskey and scotch.
Well, we'll have to see what she thinks of Bear Fight American single malt whiskey.
Yeah, so she's we'll try it sometime in the next few days. But yeah, so it was really cool. So she's in the industry, but also has a really fun job of drinking like you guys are and talking about things.
What kind of car do you drive?
I have a couple cars, but the one that you want me to talk about is I have a 1981 DMC DeLorean.
That is fantastic. The DMC 12.
This poster here.
Oh yes.
As a fellow sci-fi fan and you know fan of the 80s, that gets me where I also have some connection to it, as I'm a Pontiac guy. John DeLorean, before forming his own motor company, was the general manager and chief engineer at Pontiac Motor Division. So yeah, father of the GTO, so called.
You got to get yourself a GTO.
I have one.
Oh, there you go. See, the sister cars.
Mike's gonna start a car podcast, I think.
Yeah, I like the DeLorean. I looked for 10 years to find one that fit the exact specifics of what I wanted it to be. I wanted it built on a certain month and a certain VIN range. So I have an 81 DeLorean that has a lot of the features of the 82, and it's about 20 to 30 VINs away from the A car in Back to the Future. So that's the same style hood, the same style layout. It's spec'd exactly the same as what the Time Machine would be. But I own a DeLorean, not a DeLorean Time Machine, because I don't want all that stuff on my car.
Right. And is it an automatic or is it a manual?
Oh, no, it's a 5-speed. Yeah, it's a great car. It's never stranded me, knock on wood. And it's always been pretty solid. I converted a lot of the old Lucas Electronics relays to solid state relays, and also changed the ignition and timing system. It's one of the first fuel injected cars, weirdly enough. Right. So converted all of that to computer controlled. So yeah, and the way it worked was weird. So modern fuel injection cars will squirt, they'll squirt gasoline when they need it, and that'll keep the engine rolling. Mm-hmm. The way the DeLorean worked is using a system called K-Jet. It's always blowing fuel through the tank, and it's just live adjusting the mixture. So the idle's looping, so it goes like... So when you hear it in the Back to the Future movies, it's actually a Porsche from the 80s that they use for the sound of the engine. But a DeLorean's got a very specific actual engine sound. So,
well, we are delighted to have you. Thank you so much for being here with us, and look forward to having you back, possibly for Orville season 4. Maybe just with your next big breakthrough in filmmaking technology.
Yeah, congratulations, man! Thanks for being on. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We talked for over an hour about everything from the Orville to Ted to his time at Massive Dynamic. And a lot of that's going to be in the show, but some of it we're going to push to either a supplemental or maybe a patron-only feed. So patreon.com/missionlog. You can join us there for just $1 a month, get access to our Discord and all of the Roddenberry podcast shows.
Truly, there is so much we left on the cutting room floor for this conversation of Talking Ted, but we do want to thank Brandon for joining us. Mike, as always, you are just so wonderful to do this show with. I'm so glad we always get to share a virtual glass of Bear Fight whiskey together. It's a pretty tough job. We got a pretty tall order. But
It has been a joy. And Jessica, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge your efforts in coordinating, producing, brainstorming, and thinking of us doing this show together during our shore leave from Mission Log the Orville.
thank God people at Roddenberry also thought this was a good show idea too. Well, next week we get to talk about the final episode of Talking Ted season 1. He's Gotta Have It, and we get to welcome back the big cheese himself, Seth MacFarlane, to talk all about it and maybe what's next for Ted. So, will I see you there, Mike?
You'll see me there, Jess.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers, Jess.
Talking Ted is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Executive producer Rod Roddenberry and John Champion. Our website and your opportunity to comment and connect with us is podcast.roddenberry.com. This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.